The Florida sun had barely crept over the horizon when the familiar silhouette emerged from the mist. A yellow bandana, skin like weathered leather, a walk that screamed legacy, even as age tried to rob it from him. It was Hulk Hogan, now in his 70s, and looking like he was preparing for WrestleMania all over again. But why? The wrestling world had long moved on. New champions, new headlines, new scandals. Yet here was Terry Bollea, better known as Hulk Hogan, pushing weights heavier than most men half his age, drenched in sweat, whispering mantras to himself. They thought I was finished, brother, but I've just begun. It all started months earlier, after a particularly painful night in Tampa. Hogan had collapsed in his bathroom. His knees, already rebuilt with metal rods and surgical precision, buckled under his weight. Doctors warned him, "You're done lifting. You need to slow down." That night, lying in a hospital bed, staring at a ceiling that mocked him with its stillness, Hogan made a decision. If the world was going to write him off, he'd rewrite the script. And it wasn't about getting back into the ring. It was about vengeance, redemption, and the promise he made to a dying friend. Back in 2021, Hogan had shared a tearful phone call with longtime friend and rival Macho Man, Randy Savage's brother, Lanny Poffo. Lanny spoke of regrets, of how Randy always believed Hogan could have done more to fight aging. Randy used to say, "Hulk's not going to go down like the rest of us. He'll find a way." That line stuck like a tattoo on Hogan's brain. He began documenting everything. Nutrition, sleep, supplements, even breathing exercises. But most of all, training. He didn't want a regular workout. He wanted a system that defied logic. Something no one his age had ever done. He reached out to old Navy SEALs, biohackers, MMA coaches, even former enemies in the locker room who'd gone into physiotherapy. And when people asked what he was doing, he only said, "I'm building something the world won't believe until they see it with their own eyes." What followed was codenamed Project Immortal. The first phase nearly broke him. Picture this. Hogan, at 71, strapped to a cryo chamber set at minus 150 degrees Fahrenheit, meditating for breath control. Then dunked in an ice bath before immediately being thrust into a sandbag-carrying sprint. Every step threatened to tear open old surgical scars. But he kept going. His coach during this period, a retired Russian Spetsnaz operative named Victor, a man who once trained special forces to survive Siberia barefoot. "You are not old," Victor would growl. "You are untrained." The regimen was brutal. Sleep, rigidly timed with blackout rooms and blue light blockers. Diet, raw liver, high-fat keto, zero sugar, and daily 18-hour fasting. Recovery, red light therapy, ozone chambers, and venom acupuncture. Training, not just lifting, but bear crawls, kettlebell flows, and underwater resistance running. Victor's warning echoed every day. If you cheat, your body will age 10 years overnight. Hogan didn't cheat. In 3 months, he dropped 30 pounds of fat, gained muscle density, grew faster, slept better. But it wasn't the physical that scared him. It was what came next. One night, as lightning cracked outside his Clearwater Beach home, Hogan received a strange package, unmarked, no return address. Inside, a worn VHS tape, labeled only 1986, unreleased. Hogan dusted off his old player, inserted the tape. There was grainy footage of his match against King Kong Bundy. But then it cut abruptly. A shadowy figure appeared. A voice, digitized and robotic, spoke. "You've reignited the fire, but some flames burn too bright. Walk away. Hogan, before we make you." He rewound it, again and again. Same message. No explanation. He laughed it off. Probably a fan prank. Still, he tripled his security. And in the gym the next morning, he added 5 extra reps to every set. Because if someone was afraid of him coming back, it meant he was on the right track. The world started to notice. Photos leaked on Reddit. A grainy shot of Hogan curling 70-pound dumbbells, shirtless, veins bulging. Then came the TMZ headline. "Hulk Hogan, what's in that protein shake?" Fitness influencers speculated. Doctors debated. WWE fans lost their minds. And yet he stayed silent. Until one night, out of nowhere, he posted a short clip on Instagram. No words. Just him, deadlifting 405 pounds. The caption read, "Age is just a number, brother. But discipline? That's eternal. And hey, if you're loving this journey so far, you won't want to miss what comes next. Hit that subscribe and stay tuned, because we're just scratching the surface of Hulk Hogan's unbelievable transformation. If Clearwater Beach could talk, it would tell you about the sun, the surf, and the legacy of one of its most famous residents, Hulk Hogan. But it wouldn't say a word about what lay beneath, because under Hogan's $1 million beachfront property, hidden behind a false wall in his garage, was something no one expected. Not a wine cellar, not a trophy room, but a private underground training facility. It was the heart of Project Immortal, and only a handful of people even knew it existed. The idea was born years ago, during Hogan's darkest time. After the lawsuit with Gawker, after the media frenzy, after he was all but erased from wrestling history, Hogan didn't just retreat, he rebuilt. The house he bought after the storm had a massive foundation. Most saw it as a bunker-like overkill for hurricanes. Hogan saw opportunity. Using private contractors sworn to secrecy, he excavated beneath the structure, adding steel reinforcements, custom HVAC, anti-surveillance shielding, and reinforced gym equipment. He wanted a sanctuary, a lab, a war room, and this was it. Inside were things no normal gym had. Altitude simulation chambers set to mimic the Himalayas. A plunge pool infused with magnesium and oxygenators. A bulletproof mirror, not for vanity, but to practice body mechanics. And in one corner, a massive touchscreen wall loaded with AI-generated workouts, diagnostics, even holograms of his old matches for mental reps. He called it the Immortal Cell. Every morning at 4:30 a.m., Hogan descended into the cell barefoot, dragging resistance sleds across the polished floors as Victor screamed out brutal instructions in Russian-accented English. Faster. You wrestle your own ghost today. And Hogan didn't just train, he studied. There were tapes from the 80s, clips from Bruce Lee, lectures from David Goggins, Jocko Willink, even Eastern monks. Hogan consumed them all. Then one night, something strange happened. It was storming again. The Florida sky roared like it knew the man inside was defying limits. As rain hammered his roof, Hogan was in the middle of a brutal sandbag circuit when the monitors in the Immortal Cell glitched. The screens flickered, then black, static, then white text. "You've gone too far, old man." Hogan froze. This wasn't part of any software he'd installed. He reached for the power button, but the message changed again. "Your bones are old, but what you carry is older. We warned you." Then everything cut out. The power, the backup generator, total darkness. For 30 seconds, the silence was crushing. Then the lights blinked back on. Monitors rebooted. No trace of the message. Hogan grabbed a baseball bat and swept the entire house. Nothing. No signs of intrusion. He didn't call the cops. He didn't alert anyone. Instead, he looked into the mirror, grinned, and whispered, "If they're scared now, wait till they see me next month." A week later, Hogan's new phase began. The DNA protocol. He had flown to Iceland to meet a controversial biotech researcher, Dr. Maren Alldot, a woman once discredited for her theories on epigenetic rejuvenation. Her theory? That trauma could age your cells faster, and healing them could rewind biological age. Hogan was skeptical, but when Dr. Alldot showed him a picture of her 79-year-old test subject sprinting barefoot across a glacier, he agreed. He gave blood, saliva, hair samples, scans, tests, and then she gave him a custom protocol designed to reprogram his aging DNA. It involved cold therapy in precise 3-minute doses, hyperbaric oxygen therapy before sleep, special adaptogenic herbs from the Himalayas, breathwork sequences based on ancient warrior traditions. But there was one catch. He had to eliminate all contact with digital media for 21 days. No screens, no phones, no cameras. So Hogan vanished again. No posts, no sightings. Fans speculated he'd retired quietly. Or worse, relapsed into health issues. But in truth, Hogan was in complete sensory lockdown, meditating in isolation pods, fasting, journaling, and pushing himself to his physical edge. When he emerged 22 days later, people gasped. His eyes were clearer, his posture straightened, his skin tighter, his frame more muscular. One UFC coach who saw him at a private wellness summit whispered, "That man doesn't look 71. He looks 50, and mean." Word spread. Joe Rogan mentioned him on a podcast. The guy's a beast. I heard Hogan's tapped into some next-gen anti-aging stuff, like biohacker level. Clips went viral. Again. And this time, Hogan played along. He posted a photo of his wrist with a strange metallic band, like a high-tech bracelet. No caption. Speculation exploded. People began messaging him nonstop. "What are you doing? Is it gene therapy? Are you taking peptides?" But he said nothing until one video dropped. It was just 12 seconds long. Hogan, in a dim-lit gym, punching a heavy bag so hard it cracked the outer shell. The camera panned to his face. Sweat dripping, muscles full, eyes intense. He looked straight into the lens. "This isn't a comeback, brother. This is evolution." Fade to black. And listen, if you're inspired by this unbelievable transformation and you're still hearing, that means the story is doing something for you. Stick around, because shortly, we reveal the real reason Hogan pushed so hard and the shocking betrayal that made it personal. By now, the world was beginning to notice something strange. Hulk Hogan wasn't just getting fit. He was getting younger. Every leaked photo, every grainy clip, every surprise appearance. He looked tighter, leaner, sharper. Fans dubbed it the Immortal transformation. Reddit threads exploded. Fitness YouTubers dissected his every move. But no one knew the real reason behind the obsession. Because deep down, Hogan wasn't chasing vanity. He was chasing vengeance. It started in 2020. Hogan was supposed to co-launch a new wrestling health and fitness brand with a longtime friend, Titan Steel, a former WCW wrestler turned entrepreneur. Titan was once like a brother. They'd traveled together, bled together, survived the brutal wrestling circuit of the 90s together. But behind the handshake deals and smiles, Titan had a secret plan. Unbeknownst to Hogan, Titan was quietly filing exclusive trademark rights for a new line of supplements and training content, using Hogan's image. The betrayal was discovered by accident. A young assistant found a leaked contract in a spam email folder buried deep. Hogan reviewed it himself. It was clear as day. Titan had created a legal backdoor to cut him out of the brand completely once it launched. The signature on the papers? Forged. "I gave that man a decade of loyalty," Hogan growled to Victor, "and he tried to erase me." Victor's reply was simple. "Then build a legacy so massive he drowns in your shadow." That betrayal lit a fire deeper than any before. The training escalated. Hogan began doubling sessions, lifting more, eating cleaner, sleeping like a soldier. His journals, once filled with notes, were now filled with war cries. "Out-train the lies. They took my trust. I'll take their relevance. Make them wish they never crossed you." But it wasn't just a training that shifted. It was his entire identity. He removed every old memorabilia from his house. Posters, title belts, photos with former friends. Gone. In their place, blank walls, stark lighting, a single banner across the gym ceiling. Revenge is earned in silence. Then one night, a call came in. It was from Nick, his son. "Dad," he said, voice nervous, "Titan's on a podcast right now, saying you've gone off the deep end with this transformation thing, that you're faking it." Hogan didn't respond. But later that night, he watched the clip. There was Titan, smug, casually sipping from a branded supplement bottle with Hogan's silhouette on the label. I love Terry, but let's be real, he's a legend in his own mind. Nobody his age can do what he's pretending to do. It's all smoke and mirrors. That clip went viral. Hashtag Hogan hoax started trending. And for a moment, Hogan almost smiled, because now he had exactly what he needed: public doubt. He knew the best revenge wasn't just proving them wrong. It was doing it so well, Even his enemies would pretend they believed in him all along. The next day, Hogan called Victor. "I want to train like I'm fighting in 6 months." Victor paused. "Who?" "Doubt," Hogan said, "and anyone who helps spread it." And so began Phase 3, functional combat training. This wasn't just gym work anymore. Hogan trained with ex-Marines, practiced jiu-jitsu under moonlight, sparred in sand pits with MMA veterans. He added tactical breathing under duress, live sparring at elevation, urban assault courses with weighted vests. His grip strength tripled. His speed returned. Reflexes? Sharpened by hours of hand-eye coordination drills and reaction lights. His resting heart rate dropped to 41 BPM. And then he posted a new video. It opened with silence, a black screen, then the sound of rope snapping against pavement. Cut to Hogan shirtless, flipping a 400-pound tire in the rain, screaming with every rep. He looks into the camera. Let them talk. While they do, I'm evolving. No music, no edits, just grit. Fans went crazy. But Titan doubled down. He launched a press release calling Hogan's transformation a PR stunt to stay relevant. That's when Hogan called his lawyer. The fake trademark Titan had filed. Hogan moved to block it, with proof of forged documents, testimony, and digital forensics. The lawsuit made headlines. Hulk Hogan sues former friend over fraud and deception. Suddenly, the narrative changed. And Hogan? He didn't post anything for 2 weeks. Then came the most shocking leak yet. A private gym owner in Miami posted security footage of Hogan doing weighted pistol squats with a 60-pound dumbbell. At age 71, it went viral overnight. Millions of views. Top comment: "He's not human anymore." Men started mimicking his training. Fitness influencers launched Hogan circuits. TikTok flooded with hashtag Immortal Challenge clips. And Hogan? He stayed quiet. Because deep down, he knew what was coming next. And hey, if you're still following this wild ride, you've seen just how deep this rabbit hole goes. But trust me, it gets even crazier. In our final segment, we reveal what Hogan's really training for and the mysterious event that left the world speechless. It was a humid night in Tampa when the invitation arrived. A plain black envelope. No return address. Just one phrase embossed in red. Legacy is not given. It's taken. Inside, a single card, an invitation to a secret underground combat event, known only among elite fighters, former special forces, and ex-pro athletes. The kind of place where rules didn't exist, where age didn't matter, only dominance did. The location? A decommissioned aircraft hangar outside Orlando. The date? 6 weeks away. Hogan read it once, then placed it on the steel bench in his gym and nodded. This was it. The culmination of everything. Rumors spread like wildfire. Hogan's entering the pit. It's a publicity stunt. No way a 71-year-old survives 30 seconds in that arena. But they didn't know what he'd become. Because Hogan wasn't just stronger. He was disciplined, precise, unbreakable. His training shifted into overdrive. Victor brought in new blood, retired Navy SEALs, Olympic-level sprinters, even a blind judo master who specialized in seeing through motion. The days were relentless. Sledgehammer strikes at dawn, night sprints in ankle-deep surf, rope climbs with bloodied hands, breathing drills underwater until he could hold for over 4 minutes. He trained not to look young. He trained to outlast fear itself. On the night of the event, the hangar was packed. The lights were dim, music pounding. The crowd a mix of whispers and disbelief. No camera crews. No promotion. Just raw adrenaline. Every fighter was masked. But one man entered barefaced, and the room went silent. Hulk Hogan, drenched in sweat, muscles carved, hair tied back, eyes focused. He wasn't wearing red and yellow. He wore black. Simple, tactical, merciless. His opponent? A 32-year-old ex-UFC brawler. 6'4", 240 pounds of explosive power. Everyone assumed it would be over in seconds. But the bell rang, and Hogan didn't flinch. He slipped the first strike, countered with a vicious low kick, then a takedown. The crowd gasped. 2 minutes in, he controlled the fight, calm, calculating, devastating. Blood dripped from the younger man's nose. Hogan circled him like a panther, eyes locked. And then, boom, a spinning elbow. The crowd roared. The man crumpled. KO. Silence followed. Then chaos. The footage leaked the next day, despite all phones being banned. Blurry but unmistakable. Hulk Hogan. Victorious. Powerful. Reborn. News outlets went wild. Hogan knocks out ex-UFC pro in under 3 minutes. Is he even human? Age-defying legend makes unreal comeback. And Titan Steel? He went silent. His company's stock dropped 42% in a week. The lawsuit was fast-tracked. Hogan won. Every stolen brand, image, and deal was restored. But Hogan didn't gloat. He posted only one final video. He stood in front of the Immortal cell, sunlight pouring over his shoulders. Calm. They said I was too old. They said I was broken. They tried to erase me. But I didn't come back to fight them. I came back to prove to myself that I still had more to give. That pain was my enemy. It was my teacher. And that legacy isn't about what you've done. It's about what you do when the lights are out and no one's watching. To everyone who doubted me, I'm not here to be young again. I'm here to be immortal. Fade to black. The screen read, train, fight, evolve. Hashtag Project Immortal. And if the story lit something in you, if you ever felt written off, too old, too tired, too broken, remember what Hogan proved. You're not done. Your story isn't over. It's waiting for you to write the next chapter. So hit that subscribe button and follow us for more incredible transformations, stories of redemption, and raw truth behind legends. Because we're not done either. And neither are you. The end.